Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of Rick and Morty, the Vat of Acid episode. And this was a really good one. I really enjoyed this one because it really got into how you never really want to fuck with Rick, but also to the effect of Morty has built up a tolerance, is building up a tolerance to his shit and won't really take as much as Rick thinks he should. Like, Rick thinks that pretty much he should be unquestioned and everything, and that all of Morty's ideas are stupid. And this episode goes and just like, holy fucking shit. So we start off and we see that they're going towards this whole meat thing. He's like, "Hey, watch this." Does the auto part thing, kind of alluding to, "Oh yeah, that's kind of cool." Like, "Hey, I thought it was," and kind of foreshadowing what's going to be kind of going on through this. And he's like, "All right, this should just be an exchange, not your one in the middle adventure, like kind of thing. Just should be quiet and everything. But if I jump into a vat of acid, jump in the same one I'm going to." He's like, "Wait, what?" And Morty's like, "Dude, I've got English homework and shit." And he's ragging on him for doing that. It's like, because he's so advanced in everything, he's like, he doesn't understand the concept of doing other kinds of work. And Morty's just like, whatever. So they get in, they start doing their exchange for these crystals and everything. And of course, the gangsters pull guns on them. And he's like, "Oh yeah, well, I got the fake arm trick." And he shoots the one dude in the head who's behind him. He's like, "Yeah, you kind of fucked up on that one." He's like, "Oh, fine, whatever." I'm like, "Guess I'll just toss myself into this acid here." Grabs Morty with him, goes in. It's like, okay, cool. So there's evidently oxygen there and fake bones to like set it off. So he sets it off. This really disturbs the head gangster dude. And he's like, "I kind of have to sit here for a while." So evidently Rick's idea wasn't really the best. And he's just like sitting there and just kind of waiting. Dude is taking an enormous time dealing with this, telling stories, and one dude's like, "Hey, why don't we see how painful this is, see how quick this is. Let's drop a rat thing in there." Of course, Rick's trying to cobble a kind of bone into one of the rat things. The rat gets thrown in, shit ensues. They accidentally open the one that's got all the shit in there, and he's like, "Wow, that rat had a lot of bones and shit. What the fuck was up with that shit?" Morty, of course, is just like, "This is fucking stupid." Takes the gun and pretty much tries to go and shoot them, but he only burns one of them because he didn't cock it to full power. Rick, of course, goes out, does it, shoots him in them, takes him out, and Morty's like, "Dude, that was fucking stupid." So they're pretty much driving back, pretty much berating each other with the whole thing, which Rick did a stupid idea. And of course, sounds like a good idea at the time until you figure out like the complete weaknesses of the plan. And of course, he's knocking him for his stupid adventures, like the whole dragon thing, because of that going on like Game of Thrones and all that. And I'm like, fine, whatever. And saying like, "Yeah, you have stupid ideas." It's like, really? I don't think you can do my ideas. Like the whole save point thing with the video game. It's like, oh, really? Really? And of course, this starts setting him off. And I'm like, it's really kind of funny how they start going back and forth. The dialogue was on point as fucking Rick's being like, "Oh yeah, before it was called negging or whatnot, it was done by reverse psychology and it was done by Bugs Bunny." I'm like, shit. But the thing is, it's working on Rick to the point where, at least where we're seeing it, he's like, "Fine, I'm going to do it." So Rick spends all night doing it, gets it up, and he's able to make a save point, kills Morty, brings himself back to the save point. He's like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, have fun with it." It's like, oh, this isn't going to be good. So Morty goes off. We start off with his teacher saying that like he had this affair with this weird Renaissance fair chick. And became like an expert blacksmith and got a lot of STDs and shit. And Morty goes up, makes a save point, pulls down the dude's pants, like, "What the fuck's going on here?" We see him try to do something with Jessica, and it didn't work out that well the first time around. Of course, he plays it off kind of cool, and she kind of seems more interested in that. Then he goes off and starts doing all these kind of crazy things, doing a whole thing with cops shooting him jumping over this hole and shit. Then we get to this one where he's like outside thinking of going to the strip club, but then we see him go on this whole adventure where he dates this chick. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool and interesting. And the important bit isn't that we see Morty have a girlfriend. The important bit is like all of the journey that we kind of see at that point, because it ties into what goes on at the end. So he's doing all this. We see them doing their whole thing, having nice, lots of fun together, and then of course breaking up, getting back together, planning this trip. Morty, of course, keeping the save point thing, but he has not made a save point beyond the one that he was outside looking at the strip club sign. That's an important fact. So they're in this airplane. It crashes. He loses control of the whole thing. Him, his girlfriend, and these two other people are pretty much the only survivors. And then eating like vegan boots at one point. Then they're almost ready to eat a dead body, but she can't do it and he can't do it. He's trying to kill himself, but then he figures out, okay, I'm going to go back here and try and get the save point clicker. He does have a moment where he's like, he finds a save point clicker and he also finds a cell phone and he's able to mess around with the cell phone, and they do get rescued and they're sitting at home. And who is to fuck up Morty's whole thing? Jerry, because he accidentally picks up the wrong remote and clicks it. So then Morty's trying to fix that, but he keeps getting caught in a fucked up loop because she like pepper sprays him, and that becomes the new save point, and it just fucks with his mind where he commits suicide a couple times by throwing himself into a gorilla enclosure. It's like, shit. And he goes to Rick and be like, we see that he's learned this thing, learned his lesson of like consequences and everything. He's like, if you don't have, we are our consequences. We have to live like that. You can't have no consequences. And of course Rick's like, oh, I told you, I don't like time travel, Morty. You didn't want to figure out how this whole thing worked, Morty. And what we have seen is that every time Morty did a thing, it would shunt him to a parallel universe, kill that one's Morty, and put him in and make it work out correctly. And it's like, holy shit, he's killed like a lot of Mortys. Like, hey, you want to fix it and whatnot? And he essentially makes it so that way he's able to merge all the kind of bad consequences and everything that Morty has done throughout everything, so that way all the Mortys would be saved. It's like, this is an important thing. Rick has been doing this to fuck with Morty, and it kind of comes clear at the end, but yet Morty is learning something from this and wants to kind of fix the things that he'd done. And he find all these people arrayed against him, like Gamergate, Me Too people, Sotomayor, the Supreme Court Justice, all these fucking people like want Morty's head on a pike because it has fused all of the horrendous decisions he has made. And he's like, yeah, there should be one way to get out of this, and it's the vat of acid thing. He could not fucking let it go. This really does a great job of exploring both of the characters, where Morty has grown and become more assertive to these adventures and everything, and wants his ideas and everything to work out, because that's what he wanted, that communication. Rick still wants to be thought of as a god to Morty, and that his shit is not stupid, even if it is. And it's like, holy fucking shit. So Morty's like, yeah, I'm getting in the acid, fuck you, whatever. Gets in, and of course it's got the oxygen thing, and everybody's pretty much like, yeah, ruminating on like, wow, we kind of weren't really looking for justice, were we? We just pretty much made someone throw themselves in a vat of acid. I'm like, yeah, you kind of want to think about that shit when you do that, man. Justice isn't revenge. And justice isn't forcing someone to pretty much acid bath themselves in a vat of acid. Ugh. But they leave except for two cops. One dude's like, I don't know, I kind of want to test this, make sure that this acid's working or whatnot. And Rick's like, no, it's not just Mountain Dew jacuzzi. And I'm like, yeah, that would fit. And he's about ready to do the ladle thing. Morty's got the gun, but of course he kind of he doesn't misfire, but it doesn't work as well. He accidentally shoots the dude through. The acid goes onto this other cop dude. He's like, yeah, fuck, I'm acid proof, man. Kiss my ass kind of shit. And he's dancing as his buddy's dying down there. It's like, you're not really thinking. You're like, yeah, you got splashed by a liquid, and you're like, oh, okay, whatever. And Rick's like, wow, that was kind of screwed up. And he's like, yeah, this was just another alternate dimension anyway. You'd think I'd like waste our dimension on this? Yeah, this one 9/11 didn't happen. Johnny Carson's still alive and everything, and Rocky Road's a different kind of ice cream. It's like, what the hell? So they go off back to their universe. We get the end stinger of the Johnny Carson show. They're like, yeah, let's see how this dude is acid proof and everything. He ain't, and he dies painfully, and it's like, oh shit. So I really enjoyed this because it did a good job of showcasing Rick and Morty's dynamic and how fucking horrendous Rick can be, because he played a long fucking game just to be proven right. Even though the acid vat thing fucking still didn't fucking work. It worked to a certain extent, but then people try and get into it. It's like, yeah. I mean, he said that it's not like Mountain Dew jacuzzi, but if he is so smart, couldn't he have made a compound that is genetically coded to not eat Rick and Morty and eat other things? This was really good and really crazy. I'm like, god damn, Morty got fucked over. But an important bit is, yeah, Rick pretty much got him out of a situation that Rick got him into, but he's still like, fuck you, man. Fuck you. So it'll be interesting to see what other shit and shenanigans happens, but I really enjoyed this one. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.